Just in time, Miss Bowman. Thank you. You popped in just in time. Excellent. Well, good morning, everybody. I'm John Rakowski,
Good
and
morning.
we're amongst family and friends here in our what we call the Collaboration Cafe, where we try to share on Monday mornings at 9 just information to help our business. So today, Karen, what are we talking about? We're talking about using analytics in our world.
Yeah, we're going to talk about how to use analytics, leverage, statistics, because obviously right now the market's a little strange. It's very, very different. I don't know about you, but I'm getting price reductions on my listings. Who else? Anyone else trying to get price reductions?
Trying. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about that.
Right. I made you co-host. Would you like me to do this, the slides for you, or what could I do to
Well, I don't really have slides. I just wanted to share an experience that I had this weekend as a listing agent. And I can start with, it's really I'll show you what I do. Okay. And, please chime in, because there's probably a lot of stats out there that maybe I'm not aware of. But I do know one thing. Chat GPT will not do an absorption rate for you, so you better learn how to do it. It's like, I'll call a real estate agent. That's what it said.
Karen, Chat GPT is a new buzz phrase that's going around right now, right? AI Chat GPT. And I'm guessing in the new dictionary.
Why would I do that?
I don't know. It's because I know everybody's pissed off at me all the time.
I'm listening
to. Who is that?
Sorry, got it.
Okay.
But those are phrases that we have to get to know, because obviously they're gonna be here for a while. So, okay.
Yeah. So this all started this weekend. I have 2 condos on the Gulf of Mexico with access to the beach. So you would think that they would sell quickly. And neither of them are selling. I'm not even getting showings on them. So one of the sellers sent me a very nice email this weekend, and just said, hey, what's going on? And this is one that I'm sharing with one of my agents. So it's one of those things, make sure you're on top and communicating with your sellers. And I did apologize to him, because I thought the other party was communicating to him, which was not. So now, like, every Monday I'm going to send him stats and updates, but it's like, hey, things must be selling, because Sotheby's just sent me a postcard, and Coldwell Banker just sent me a postcard. So it's one of those things where, you have to show your value, to them. So I'll show you one of the things. First and foremost, I'm going to share my screen here, but I will show you one of the things that I did, and then I'll show you the email. So obviously we know about SunStats, right? So I went to SunStats, first of all, just to see, I'm trying to see what the market's doing, and I went back 6 months on this one, and it says one closed sale. Like that, so this is telling me that, okay, there's an issue here, Mr. Seller. And my price point is 500,000. So what else is that telling you right here? People are buying, and this does not take into consideration, does mine have a water view and access to the water? Because I guarantee you this median sale price, are at the 1.3. Those are probably condos, excuse me, that have access to the Gulf of Mexico. Mine does not. Mine has beach. You can walk, mine's in the front of the building. You can walk out. But so these are things like I'm trying to share with my seller, to say, hey, this is what we're doing. Also, one of the things, like on advertising, how are you advertising? Are you showing your seller, that you have value here? And I'm going to pull up something else. When Sean and I were working together, Sean would do Facebook ads for me on my listings. And he had a bot connected to it. Remember that, Sean?
Yes.
And we would actually send that bot, like the series of communications to our sellers, so that they know, hey, we are advertising this, this is what we're doing. Let me just
and Carol, while you bring that next one up, James, I know you're on the other coast. And I'm not sure, what's your MLS, James? Do you have
Uh,
Stellar as well?
I'm with Stellar as well. Yeah.
Okay, because in case you weren't with Stellar, I'm sure each board has its, and that's for the board, isn't it? Not so much the MLS. But yeah, those stats are great to share with the customer. It shows what, it's not what we're telling them what's happening. It's the market which is sharing what's happening.
So this is one of the things, obviously I wanted to show him, and I wasn't sending him this, but this is one of the things that I was showing him, that, hey, we are advertising and you are getting some traction. So this is the actual, this one is, it's not my Bel Beach one. This is one in Indian Rocks.
Mhm.
Okay. And there was, when I put this under when I listed this, there was one under contract for 540,000. It just closed for 500. Mine's at 525. Okay. So even though the seller's like, well, I'm not, going down. Well, Mr. Seller, there's 2 sales since we've been on the market, and those were pending when we went on the market. And one is 500 and the other is 430. So you need a price reduction. But this is something that I like to show value to my customers, because this is an email that can go to them. They can view the listing tour, but they can also look at their ad. So I'm showing them, look, this is what your ad looks like on the Wall Street Journal. This is what your ad looks like on Facebook. And this is what your ad looks like. I'm not sure what this one is. This is like the global list globally, so look, we are in all these markets. So this is something, if you're not doing something like this and you want to learn how to do this, let me know. Okay. So that was one of the things that I sent him. The other thing I did, let me find the email.
Up on top with the one you sent me.
Yeah. So here's another thing. And this is a long email, but when he's telling me, hey, it looks like what are you pushing our strengths? Are you showing that we have parking and we have laundry? Well, one of what I showed him, one of the issues feedback wise was that there's no laundry room. So, Mr. Seller, I'm not going to put that you got a laundry facility on the 2nd floor, because people don't want that.
Right.
That was some of the negative feedback.
Mm-hmm.
So this email, so I'm showing him, look, as a member of the luxury home marketing, I showed him my stats. I attached the PDF. I also did a market analysis. I went back 33 days. My house has been on the market 33 days. Okay. My condo. So what has sold in 33 days, what has pended in the past 33 days, and what is active. And you can see these numbers are kind of all over the place. But the minimum was a sale was this 400,000 for 1 bedroom. So these stats, if you can figure out how to read them, because obviously you have to look into, are you on the water? Are you not on the water? Do you have a view? Do you not have a view? Which we all know that. But what I was able to do is say, hey, Mr. Seller, people are buying larger units than yours and paying 750,000 on average. Ours is 500. That means that yours is you're too small to compete with the larger units, yet you're a little out of the price range for the people that can afford the lesser units.
Right.
So these were the like I said, the stats I showed him. And I did get I did get a $10,000 price reduction, but let's see, this is the other thing, the feedback. Is everyone using do you guys all use Showtime?
Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you put your feedback in here and send it to your sellers? No. Okay. So I don't know if you're aware of it, but when this is feedback on from the showings, and down below, all these other people, see that there's like people that didn't provide feedback. You can actually call the agent, get feedback, go into this report, type it in there, because these are things that you need to be showing your sellers. Okay. And if you're trying to get a price reduction and you're like, yeah, well, I don't know, let's just reduce it. Well, why? Well, because everyone here is saying too high. Well, not everyone, but the majority of the people are saying it's too high. And a lot of these I typed in myself because I got the feedback from the agent because they don't want to fill out that, the Showtime form that you get in the, in your email. So this is actually a very good tool to use if you're not using it because, look, we have, we've had 10 showings in the past 7 days. We've had 5 showings. So there's activity. They're just not buying yours. They're going to Island Estates and buying the cheaper ones.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's Maria, because you are a heavy listing agent as well. What stats do you use?
I don't, to be honest with you. I don't. And I try, it depends on the seller that I have to send them feedback, because I had some that will take it personally. So I try not to even go there, and with the ones that take the feedback, I right now it's crazy because like you were saying, the market is doing everything. You have houses that have multiple offers again, that we're getting bidden in price. I'm working with a buyer. So there's a specific market between the 400s and the 600s that is going insane again.
I know.
Yeah. And then everything higher than that, no. Because of course, because of the interest rates, this is the people that were on the 700 or 800s. So I try not to. I go more so like, what can we do to improve it? Whether it is, painting, staging, doing something. I personally believe in taking the house or the condo off the market for a few days and bringing it back. Even saying that that you have a deep cleaning. I don't care what excuse it is, but I don't think that is a good idea to like just leave it there. So sometimes I take it off the market. We do something small. I put it back on the market, and I seem to have a better reaction from people.
When you take it off the market, is that without a price reduction? So that is in place.
So I take it off the market for a few days, like in the last one, for example, and this was in my personal one, my last flip that I sold. I start seeing that not only I was high, but I knew this. I knew that I was going high. It was not something new for me, but at the same time, I knew where the price was, like around 619 or so. So I took it off the market thinking I'm going to do windows in this place. So I give myself 3 days to get estimates for windows. When I brought it into the market, I told the people, I'm giving you $10,000 for closing costs, or for you to put new windows. And I got it sold. It seems like they're seeing the help with the closing costs as a big thing, and I see it more often right now, and all the remarks that realtors are doing. And I think that's better than reducing the price. Just put it on the remarks, help with closing cost. And I'm talking with every single seller about that. Let's help with closing costs, because the people that are buying out there, they don't have money. And so I'm going that way instead of sharing some of the feedback or the stats. Sometimes I feel like they don't care about the stats. I don't know, unless we get somebody that is really into the stats. Otherwise, they're not listening to what we're saying. I was having issues with that condo in Dunedin that right now probably I could sell it 5 times. Elevator. Does your condos have elevators? Both of them? Okay.
Yep.
Because put that in a big, big thing in the description, Karen, that it has an elevator. The laundry was another setback for mine too. Yeah, they don't want to do laundry with everybody else.
Isn't that funny?
Can they be built? Can they build the laundry? Because that's the other thing too. If you find out they can build it, and you can say, it can be built in the closet and the master bedroom for around $9,000, then you're giving them ideas too.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of the condos in that were built without their own, they're just not built properly. The plumbing isn't in place, etc. But since I deal with a lot of the condos as well, having your own laundry room is a big deal. Okay, especially for seniors who don't want to walk down a hall and go up an elevator or stairs. And you know what? A lot are still have the COVID thing in their back of the mind. They don't want to be sharing a laundry room, whatever it is. But I think you got really some valid points there. I think sharing feedback and stats, etc., every customer is a little bit different. I've got one who they do not want to lower the price at all. They're 300, they could care less if they sell or not. So what do? Every week I just send them what's happening in the condo association. That's all. I take a screenshot of all the active listings, pendings, and solds in the last 5 days, whatever, 7 days. And that's what I send out. It's not as technically complicated as what Karen's doing, but it gives you a really good screenshot of exactly what's happening on the market. And if you see the inventory is actually increasing in a certain area, well, now you see why they're not making offers on certain properties. So,
and without scaring the seller, Karen, another thing that I'm using lately is the flood insurance.
Well, I'm using that too, because both mine are on the first floor. But I just wanted to interject one thing, Maria. My guy he is a math analytical
Let's see.
personality.
That will work for him.
Yeah, that what I sent him worked for him. He loved it.
Right.
So I think you're right. I think you have to evaluate, but I think when you're showing the feedback coming from a different source other than you,
Right.
but I agree.
I used
Some
to do like the screenshots and send it to them right away. Just a screenshot and send it to them. But like I say, I have some that get the feedback and they take it and say, thank you for letting us know. At least they know that somebody came to see the house. And, I have another ones that will start cursing at me. Not at me personally, but cursing at the buyers,
Right.
So so I try, when I see that it is usually, and this is the thing too, I take it from somebody that knows the market.
Yeah.
If I see these new agents saying bullshit, like I really do not even care that you're, coming and saying this is high, because they don't even have a clue. But if there's somebody that I know, that I respect, that is in real estate, then you have to actually kind of like say, okay, this was where I'm at, but it seems like helping with closing costs is better than reducing the price.
Yeah, if the seller is willing to do it, you're right.
Yeah.
Mr. Rebar, good to see you, my friend. You got a tan, looking good.
Thanks. How are you?
What's going on? So are you using anything like this for your customers? And both, we can use this for both sides here, not just for listings, but for buyers too, when they're on, they're trying to make a decision on values, where are things going, et cetera. Go ahead, Chris.
I agree with Maria and Karen. I mean, it depends on the client. Some clients that are analytical, they love that, and it's great that we have the tools. So I use that. But, I make phone calls right after showings. I always follow up with the agents, and I tell my clients, I think it's being one big part of being a good listing agent is setting good expectations, meaning that when you set the price, especially in our market, it is a weird market. I have a townhome up in Land O'Lakes, and I told my client, look, you paid $235 for it. We're listing at $429, which is a little high. So we're going to test the market and find out. We'll know within a couple of weeks whether or not we're too high. We got one offer, probably within the first 2 weeks, of $400, and they wouldn't budge. And of course, we're not giving it away. And so I said, well, you paid $235 for it. You've owned it since 2018. How is that giving it away?
Yeah.
So, and it's multiple discussions, but it's really about, I think, setting good expectations and saying, look, I want you to get the most that you possibly can for your property. We're going to list it up here, but the market's going to tell us. And until I get a phone call that, hey, there's an offer on the way, and I see it in writing, we can talk all about, why you think it's not or what's going on. And, so I just sent them out a report of everything that was in Pasco County in townhomes, what they were listed at. We're the one of 5 highest priced townhomes in all of Pasco County. I said, builders, they're not done yet, but I said they're coming down the pike where there's a lot more square footage. They're going to be brand new, and they're going to be like 389,000. So get ready for that. But right now it's on the market. Here's what it's at. And, doing open houses. Just had an open house, and hopefully get a buyer from that open. She walked in by herself, not with her agent, but I think her agent called, and because I've got a showing today at 3, so we'll see. But I think it's just giving good feedback and staying in constant contact with your seller and making sure that they know that you care and that you are looking at things as well. So
absolutely. Chris, that you mentioned feedback. I'm hoping all of you, and I would encourage you to when you're the agent on the other side, give feedback. You know, it helps
I do it all the time.
with camaraderie and collaboration with the agent that you might be doing a transaction with eventually. So it doesn't take long.
We're recruiting
You know
them
what?
to EXP.
What's that, Chris?
We're recruiting them to EXP.
Well, whatever it might be. You know what I mean? It just, the whole idea is it helps them as a listing agent to provide really valuable, accurate feedback to the seller. Because in this situation where I'm going to take over this listing in Brooksville, they've been buddies for 40 years. They used to work at Mercedes together 40 years ago, and the seller will not listen to the current listing agent. But you know what? I come in and said, we need to do this, this, and this. And John, the seller, goes, well, that's a good idea. John Pinta, the other listing agent, has been saying that all along, but because he was a salesman with them at Mercedes, he wasn't listening. Point is, provide feedback in a helpful, supportive way, kind, that will help our listing agent friends maybe lower a price. So I think we're all on board with that. Colleen, how you doing with your business, and how are you using analytics to help yourself?
Well, just like Karen said, I mean, and Maria, there's certain customers that want to see that and some that do not. So I figured that out. I have my condo on Clearwater Beach. She's very analytical and she wants to see all the numbers and what's going on, and she's very involved. And so like I pick and choose what I'm going to do. And I always follow up every week though with an email, thanks to Ed and his coaching. And what else? Yeah, my condo on Clearwater Beach it's a tough sell. And the feedback I'm getting on that is they're waiting for the structure inspection to come back. A lot of people.
Was it scheduled?
Yes, it's scheduled for the 12th, 13th, and 14th. So this week.
Wow, they're way ahead of schedule.
A lot of people know what's going on out there, and I think that's holding a lot of people off from buying condos right now too.
Yeah, I think it's not helpful. And then along with raise the increase in maintenance fees. I think we're getting used to it, but it's still painful to see when a 1 or 2 bedroom, is $700 or $800 for, and with not a lot of amenities. But that's the world we're in right now.
This one's only $660 and they have a ton of amenities.
They must have a lot of reserves in that.
They do. They're a very strong association. So
good. Well, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great. Mr. Hooker.
thank you.
The wise
Well,
old
listen, do you
man
mind
there.
if I throw my 2 cents in? Because I got to leave.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Barry,
Ed.
do you mind if I butt in here?
No. Go ahead, Ed.
Colleen mentioned that Monday report, which is something that, that almost all my coaching students do. And that is they send a Monday report, how many views we had, how many clicks we had, YouTube, the comments, all the people. But I think it's also important to tell them about the 6 factors that influence the sale of real estate. And the 6 factors that influence the sale of real estate, number 1 is the condition of the home. You don't control that, the owner does. Number 2 is the price. You merely recommend it, but the owner makes that decision. Okay. Number 3 is price, timing, financing. The owner controls what kind of financing they're going to be receptive to. Timing, how long it takes to sell, and competition, what other people sell their property for, neither one of you control. The only factor that the agent control is marketing. So that's why today I'm going to go there just like Colleen did. I've got all my Monday reports. I'm going to lay it out. I'm going to remind him. His name is Rick. I said, there's 6 factors of real estate. The price, the condition of the home, the financing, competition, timing, and marketing. I'm doing my job. Do you think the reason why your home isn't selling is because one of the factors that you control? Because I'm doing my job.
Can I intervene 1 second?
That's brilliant, Ed. Thank you.
And I think that the fact that some listings pay 2%, and this is another thing that we hold the card on the sellers, is huge. Because if you see the listings that have been on the market for a while The majority of them are paying 2%. And realtors will not show it. They wouldn't. Why? Even if you get the 0.5% more, it is worth it to pay the realtor the first price reduction that they do.
Hey, hold on.
So I just think that it is important too that we touch that with the sellers, because they think, how many of you are seeing these 1% and 2% right now again? These flat fee offices that you don't even communicate with because they don't have somebody picking up the phone. They're paying the 2% to these people and they're getting what they're paying for. So people are going to say, okay, this house is full of termites. You don't want to see it.
Eddie, you make some really valid points. And you know what, Maria, as it's got I'm sure a rebuttal for that when we're talking to agents about, or sellers about commission as well. And Eddie, I know you got to run to your morning meeting, but I'm going to share James's information with you. I think you know, he's a new guy, and I think James, you could learn a lot from Ed and his. He's got some great help for new agents. So I want to put the two of you together. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Eddie. Have a good day. Okay,
All
Mr.
right,
Hooker.
guys, I'll talk to y'all later.
Good morning, everybody. I'm hearing some great ideas and information. I think regardless of if your client is a numbers person or not, you need to have these things available to them, and try to get them to understand what they mean. Any tools that you can use to help your seller understand the market just makes you look that much better to that person. Mm-hmm. But no, I think everybody has great ideas and everybody's on a good path. You know, I really don't have much to add.
Well, you do, but just by reiterating what we know. But Terry, thanks for you know, just sharing all your experience always. I had an interesting call yesterday, and Sean, maybe you can help me with this. Why, you know, I haven't had any offers on this one condo here, and this is priced right. Okay, according to RPR, it's priced right, but still very, very few showings. And anyways, agent shows it over the weekend, likes it a lot. They want the financials. I get them the financials for 23. They ask for the financials from the previous year, and they want the financials from 21. Okay, so I'm thinking, well, I'm jumping through hoops here to get these for them. But what does it matter? Does it matter to a lender what the you know, financials were for a condo 2 years ago?
No.
I wonder if they're looking for a trend or whatever with costs.
No, we don't care. We want to know what's going on now. It's not like tax returns where you are looking at 2 years tax returns, averaging for the income. We don't care. We want to know what's going on now and what's going to happen in the future. That's the biggest thing. What do we see going forward? Not what happened 2-3 years ago.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's interesting. If this was a year ago, we would say, no, I'm not providing it, make an offer. But now we need these buyers. We need this customer to make an offer on the property. So I'm hoping they do. But I was just curious from a lender's perspective, it mattered if there was a trend with maintenance fees. Nope. Okay. Rose, you're shaking your head. Are you in agreement with everything we're saying?
Yes. Yeah, everything. I use the stats that Karen used also in terms of showing the active and the pending and the sold. And I always give feedback. I showed 7 houses on Friday, and by Friday night, everybody had feedback. One of the things I do when I'm showing a property, I'm talking to the buyer and I'm saying, what do you like about this house? And I'm making notes, and what do you not like? So when I'm giving feedback, if it's something that I know is going to help them, like maybe reduce their price or, you know, maybe maintain the house better, but I always make sure I give them at least 1 or 2 positives and then the negative. That really helps. And then with the actives, I show them the comparison and I say, this is your competition. You know, this one is just like yours and it's 10,000 less. You know, that's something you need to think about. Or these are all pending. And I explain to them that pending means that the buyer and the seller, we don't know what price they've agreed on, but they both see value in whatever the buyer offered. And then I get to the sales and I go back 6 months, a lot of times only 3, especially in this market. And I say, this is your reality check. This is the market right here, what's been selling. And that really does, it seems to help, and I do a lot of numbers and that works really well with me, whether it's on the seller side or the buyer side. I have a buyer who just made an offer and he was 10,000 less, and then he asked for 12,000 closing costs one day on the market, and of course they said no. But I called him this morning and we talked a little bit. So we're also going to change lenders, and he agreed to that. He has a lender who day 1 told him he was approved for 300. Day 2 told him he was approved for 350. Day 3 told him he was approved for 450. And then our last time was 400. And he was looking between up to 450. So anyway, we're changing lenders because I don't think this guy really looked at anything he sent him,
Yeah.
but it's
And Rose, Sean again would be a great asset to you as well. Okay.
okay, great.
Yeah.
I'd like to add something to John, if I can.
Go ahead.
I think it's important that everybody try to do everything you can to know your client. And reading books, that, for instance, Personality Plus can help you to recognize your client and what they want. I think that is most important as a salesperson, to be able to have that talent. And not everybody can do it. But if you read the book a couple times, I've read the book 4 times, and I get something new from it all the time. It's like the DISC profile. I'm sure you all have heard of the DISC profile.
Sure.
Personality Plus, the book, takes a different approach to it a little bit. But I can tell you through the last 24 years, it's helped me to keep clients more often. I mean, we're all going to lose clients, and you can never satisfy 100% of the people. But you can cut those numbers down a little bit.
Yeah.
Personality Plus is a great way to learn how to look at your client and know what they actually want from you.
Good. Thanks, Terry, for sharing that. David, how you doing, my friend?
Good, good.
What are you using for analytics, etc.?
I've actually been using an application called Reventure. I don't know if you guys have known about this, but it's reventure.app.
Okay.
And it basically takes Zillow's information and analyzes it in many different ways. Home value growth, like I just looked up 33756, right? It's Bel Air, Clearwater. We're down 21% year over year. The numbers don't lie.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody wants to rebuke the numbers, they're not being realistic. So if you don't want to sell, hold on to your house. It's very simple. Don't waste your time with people who are not motivated, because they're going to get hurt. You're going to waste your time. You're not going to get a sale. It's going to go to expired or withdrawn.
Wow, great. David, spell that R-E-V-E-N-T.
I got it. I'm going to put it in the chat. I got it.
Excellent. How interesting.
And it takes it analyzes Zillow, which everybody uses anyhow, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you can spin the numbers any which way you want, but this is right in their face because everybody looks at Zillow and they want to see what their home is worth.
Is this is it free?
It's free. You can sign up. You can, it's a teaser, right? But
yeah,
it's free, and then you can sign up and, get a little bit more data. But it's pretty powerful. When you got to have those hard conversations with the sellers, because you know, I'd rather waste an hour and a half up front and not take the listing than take the listing. All of the time and effort and everything else that goes along with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point, David. Whoever mentioned who had the phrase about the setting expectations, I think that's key, you know.
One can argue, take the listing and then, you know, beat them up and show them this is what's going on. This is how this is what we're doing. We're marketing it and we're just not where we need to be.
Right. Yeah. Great.
I'm on this app. You know what I like about it? You can do state, metro, county, and then zip. You could kind of get a, 30
macro.
Yeah, macro down to micro. I like that.
Thank you, David.
Yep.
Well done. Miss Christina.
Hey.
Good morning. Do you see the value? You're a fairly new realtor. You see the value in providing statistics and analytics to our customer, right?
Yeah, of course. They want to
Okay.
they want to know.
Good. So yeah, what do you think? Give us your thoughts on
it. Oh God, you always put me on the spot, John.
It's okay. Just so how would you understand where the stats can come from and how you can use them to your advantage to price a property to help a buyer make a good offer, correct?
Yeah. I mean, I can't talk about it much, to be honest, because
we understand that you being new, but again, you see the value in using them. You know, I think when you use a third party to share information, especially when it comes to numbers and stats and trends and graphs, you can't argue with that. You know, it's not you can't allow our customer to say, my brother, my sister, my neighbor said this. Okay, maybe great, but here's what the marketplace is telling us. This is where we need to price this at if you want to sell the property. And David's right. You know, in a kind way, we just show a little tough love when we first meet with people and see what their expectations are and when they want to sell, how quickly they want to sell a property. You know, everybody wants to get as much as they possibly can for the market, but like in Chris Rebar's situation, that 400 is probably going to be the best offer he's ever going to see. Okay, now he's got more brand new townhomes coming in the market for 389. So sometimes, hey, you got to learn the lesson. And I remember Brian Stavely, sharing this with us years ago, that you're pricing properties ahead of the curve. If the curve is going this way, you're pricing up here. While it's going this way, we need to price down here. We need to get ahead of the curve. If this is what RPR and the CMAs are telling us, you know what? Let's take 5 or 10% off of that number, and that's where we should list it for, if you want to sell it. Go ahead, David.
One of the things I like to do is do a, everybody does a CMA. What has sold in the past, right? That's great. Everybody likes to look in the past and see where we were. All right. What I like to do is do a market analysis. Take the actives, the pendings, the solds, the expireds, all within maybe, a 2-mile, 3-mile area, depending upon how much inventory you get on that, on that search, and show it to them live. Don't print it out. Just show it to them live. Click on the photos. Is your house nicer than this one? What about this one? This one expired. Now we don't know why, but obviously it was priced here and it didn't sell. That's the fact. It did not sell. Do you want to sell or not? It's very simple. So we show the pendings. Now this one's under contract. We don't know if it's actually going to sell. Financing can fall out. Things can happen. People get cold feet. Then we look at the solds. And this one sold last month within 30 days. Why? Well, it was priced here. And here are the photos. And this house is actually nicer than yours. Wouldn't you agree? Or
yeah,
what do you think about this house?
Right.
Do you think it's nicer than yours?
Yeah.
Or not?
Yeah.
It's up to you. So we need to make these decisions together and make sure that if you want to sell your home, we need to do these things. We need to reverse engineer price, condition, like if we need to fix it up, we need to fix it up. We need to figure out where we need to be price-wise against your competition. And we need to make sure that we are successful in what we're doing. That's what we do.
Yeah.
If you want to be successful in the sale of your home in a declining market, we're going to need to be, pretty decisive in regards to our strategy.
Right. Great advice, David. Thank you. James, why don't you unmute and share with us what you think about the group and about the conversation, about analytics?
Yeah, no, I think it's really all great information. With the whole analytics, I had, I'm fairly new, and I have 3 vacant listing properties. And, whenever we were setting the price, he wanted it, he wanted a little high, which was okay, and we went with. And there was no activity around it for, I would say, a while. And, that's when I had to kind of sit down with them, and I was looking in the area, and there was activity in the area, but there was nothing really around the price point to where we were at. We were way over the price point that we needed to. And I had to be straight up with them, and I had to be like, we're out of the range. And the analytics of seeing what sold in the area was a perfect example of it. And that kind of, and it brought the truth to him, especially because, he just he was a more motivated seller, and they were just simple vacant properties. And, once we lowered the price eventually, because I think it got true to him that it was a little high, and, he kind of was just selling himself short with putting it way too high when we had absolutely nothing coming, no activity whatsoever. So I think I agree with what everyone's saying about the analytics. So after I was able to sit down with them, look over analytics in the area, we were able to reduce the price, and we have much more activity than we've ever had with these vacant lots now. So that's something I can agree with and truly attest to.
Good. Well done. I think I remember a line from someone years ago, and they said, when it may have been Ed Escobar who shared this, it's like when the seller wants to price something, over the market, would we ask the seller, would you buy this home at that price? It's like, of course not. Well, would you? Well, then how can we expect someone else to? It's the home is worth 75 cents, and I'm asking you to pay me $1 for it. No, that's not how it works. So, James, well done. Just keep in contact with your customers. Share with them what's going on. If they want to, I see nothing wrong with sending at least a weekly email with an update. Here are the showings. Here are no showings. Here's what's happening. Just like everybody here has shared. So just stay in contact. You're just great. And Christine, I never mean to put you on the spot. I just want to make sure we involve you in the conversation. Okay.
Hey, John.
Yeah. Go ahead, sure.
I heard something, from a lender's perspective. I mean, obviously, numbers is everything for us. But I'd say 9 out of 10 people that I talk to, even the ones that are well off or they have plenty of money, cash to close is one of the most important factors for buyers right now. Rate, obviously, but you can't control rate, okay? Cash to close can be controlled. Now, how can that be controlled? If you're a listing agent, you put out closing costs as an option, because everybody who I talk to, I have to say this I've closed a couple deals with some really, financially astute people, CFOs, CPAs. They don't get it, even them, that your down payment is one part of this process, right? One not the biggest part either sometimes. Closing costs can be, depending on your situation, what type of property you are, you can give up to 6% in closing costs, okay? You can give, on a conventional loan, if it's less than 10% down, you give 3%. You can go back to looking at doing the buy downs, that was really popular, and it's not as much now, but it should be. So there's creative ways to make you put it out in public for the potential buyers that you're going to buy this place, and you're going to have less out of your pocket to buy it. So instead of worrying about prices, stats, I mean, stats are important, yes, but if you can make it easier to attract buyers, and I mean, put it in MLS, just make sure you cleared it with your seller. We're gonna go, are you okay to go up to 6%? Most of the time, you're not gonna be asked for 6%. You know that. So I would target 3%. Will you give 3%? If you give 3% on a $500,000 deal, that's $15,000. I mean, that's a big number.
Yeah.
And the more you can do that to attract more buyers, I think you'll set yourself apart. The other thing is, and what Karen was talking about, if you're marketing properly on Facebook or on social media, and you can track the stats, and if you are on Facebook market or advertising, you get all the stats. Part of your ammunition is to maybe get a price reduction is, okay, we have 2,500 impressions. We have 120 clicks. We have all these people are looking at they don't need to know that a lot of people on Facebook may not even be interested. But you show them the stats. Look how many people are clicking on this and we don't have any offers. Why is that? There's only 2 reasons you don't get offers, really, right? It's price and it's condition of the property. And that's really it as far as buyers are concerned. So those are the things I would try to do. If you ever have any questions, about the buy downs, if you want me to, I could do a video on them again and kind of show you how it works. Also, because you can do a buy down and some closing costs. I mean, that's crazy. That's way out there. I mean, that's a lot of money, but be creative, get out of, the price reductions everybody looks at, right? But be creative in how it makes it easier for the buyer to buy the property.
Right. Thank you, Sean. Hey, Sean, let me ask you a question. Recently, I had one, and I think I talked to you about this. It was a doctor getting a loan.
Right.
The purchase price was $580, and the buyer asked for $34,800 in closing costs, which I thought was just a lot of money.
Insane. Yeah.
Here's what's interesting, and maybe help us so we don't fall into the same mistake. The closing costs were 27 grand. So at closing, the buyer's agent is saying, well, how is the seller going to compensate my buyer for the 7,000 they're short? I said, they're not. They're not going to do that.
No.
So is there a way, if she wrote it up differently, that they would have gotten this full 34.8?
No, not from the finance, because we only give, the maximum is 6%. I mean, you can go to 9%, but that's when you're putting down over 30% or 40%, you can go to 9% closing cost, but that never happens. 6% is the absolute max for any program, really.
Okay.
And it's up to, it's not, you're giving 6%. And then if there's anything left over, you give it to you can't do that because you're restricted to, you can't go into the down payment, right? The down payment is the down payment that has to come from the buyer. Closing costs are a max 6%, 3 to 6% is it. So if there's anything left over, the seller, basically just the buyer doesn't get the benefit of it.
Right. Yeah, the seller pocketed the difference. And when I first got that offer, I called the lender. I'm saying, is this a little high? He goes, yeah, I wanted to overshoot to make sure that the buyer's closing costs were completely paid.
And you got to make sure that 6%, and that's over 6%. That's a big number. I mean, you got to make sure that for the program it works, because there are doctor programs out there that are specific to doctors, but they cap at 6% most of the time too. So you just got to make sure that you're not.
Yeah, the buyer's agent asked me if the sellers would write a check at closing. True.
Yeah.
I said, well, I'm sure Jim will do whatever he can. Luckily,
you don't want to know that.
Luckily, he couldn't because it was his mom's property, went into a trust, and so therefore it couldn't be done anyway. But I didn't say that. So, anyways, interesting.
I have a question. Is there a way to write on the contract that if there is any like overage, that the price will be reduced by that amount?
Or credit toward repairs or credit
Oh,
toward.
no.
But you
No,
can't,
no.
you can't, no,
No,
yeah, you
no.
can't do credits like that. because
That'll make
You can
the
only credit,
underwriters agree.
you can only credit so much money, right?
Okay.
Sean?
Mhm.
Otherwise,
Right,
That's
6%,
closing
that's it.
costs, right, right.
yeah,
That's
you can only
closing
credit
costs.
so much, so it's like, seller will pay up to 30,000 in closing costs.
You always want to put prepaids and escrows in there
Prepays
too,
and
because
escrows,
if you just
yeah.
put closing costs, if you have a picky seller who knows legally, you say, well, prepaids and escrows are not closing costs. They're not, right? So when you do that contract that says 6%, up to 6% in buyers prepaids, closing costs and escrows, make sure all those three words are in there so it gets applied correctly.
But that's another feedback that I do to the buyers too. Like if they send the feedback, if they take 2 minutes to send the feedback and for some reason they say in there, it's too expensive. So I do call them and say, I
Yeah.
think that if you send me an offer, the seller is willing to help with closing costs.
Because you understand this also, and sometimes people don't get mathematically how down payment and closing costs work. Down payment, by reducing the price, you're only reducing the cash to close by whatever percentage they're bringing to closing, right? If they're only bringing 5% down payment and you reduce the price, the buyer only gets the benefit of 5% of that reduction, okay? If you give the money in closing costs, it is a dollar for dollar reduction on cash to close. That's why I always say, don't reduce the price. It's not helping the buyer, okay? Closing costs.
And for that reason, it's much better to say, I give you 10,000 than up to. It's more
up to,
secure.
yeah.
It's more secure to say, I want 15, I want 12, I want, instead of up to 3%. So you don't get into that mess of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what if the closing costs aren't 3% or they're not 15,000?
FHA is 3.5 and up
No,
to 6%, right? So you can say up to 4%, 5%, but it's easier with a dollar.
FHA is 6% for closing costs. No matter how much money you're putting down, 6% is FHA across the board. 3.5% is the down payment.
And conventional?
Conventional is 3%.
3%.
Up to 10%. If they're putting 10% down on a conventional loan, you can pay 3% of their closing costs. If they go above 10% down, then it can go up to 6%.
Yeah.
Just call Sean. It's too complicated.
Yeah, just call Sean.
It can get complicated, right? And
I have a little cheat sheet of what I can ask to, and sometimes because it's vice versa. But it's better to say I need 12,000.
Just call. I'll run the scenario for you, right? VA says 4%, right? Everybody understands that.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth is,
just had one where
the truth is you can get more than 4% for VA if it is a certain type. If there's certain types of closing costs in there, it can go up as high as it needs to go. So VA can be a little tricky too. It's not just cross board 4%.
Awesome. Hey, Karen, you haven't said much lately. Go ahead, share. What do you think of everything?
I haven't. Who? Me?
Well, you've been taking notes and you've been listening.
I keep talking all the time. I keep butting in all the time. We talk right now. No, it was interesting because Christina had a situation where she had a VA buyer and I was helping her with it, and they had 30,000 towards closing costs. And I'm texting Sean and I'm like, 30,000, that's like 8%. How that and so I had to call Sean because I didn't know. I was like, well, you can't do that. So then I called her lender. Hey, dishes. Sorry, we got dishes in the background. So I called the buyer's lender, and he sent me some link, and I'm like, I don't understand what this link is, and I'm not reading it.
Don't read it.
What is what is it? So apparently you can get 4% in closing costs, but then up to an additional 4% towards.
You get another, yeah, for because there's certain closing costs like discount fees. You can include, which a discount's different than an origination. I can go through all these definitions and you'll be like, I don't want to listen to this. So it's better. I mean, just call me. I mean, even if I'm not getting the deal, I can help you look at something and see if it's legitimate.
Yeah. That's awesome. Anyone else? I gotta go meet an appraiser.
Karen, thank you for this suggestion of this topic. Everybody, thanks for joining us. James, I hope you chime in more often, okay? We do this every Monday morning. We change the topics. David? You want?
Yeah, I got a condo listing I'm actually taking on Wednesday. I kind of need a little bit of help in regards to analyzing whether or not it's warrantable or not.
That would be with Sean.
Okay.
Yeah, the financials are gonna be key.
Yep.
I need a house in Dunedin. I need a house in Dunedin. If somebody has something in Dunedin, I need something in Dunedin.
Okay. Well, we will try. We will try. Anyways, everybody's got our numbers. If we can be of any help, please chime in. Terry, thank you for joining us as well, and our family here. And James, thanks again for being here. And Christina, good luck with your. Is this your first closing?
Yeah.
Excellent
Done, by the
day.
way.
Good.
Thank you. Thanks. I appreciate you throwing me there because my mentality is that I want to be with the best. And I feel like you guys are amazing. I take a lot of notes whenever I can get in the meetings.
Wonderful.
And so, you know, I want to be with the best. And so I appreciate all the feedbacks everybody's got to bring. I love everything you guys got to say. And I'm taking notes and I appreciate
Awesome.
it.
Wonderful.
Yes.
All right. Everybody have a great day. Be safe out there. You've got our numbers if we can be of any help. Thank you. Good day.
Bye.